And this all kind of started when you were young, right?
Yeah, man.
Tell me about that.
So funny story. I wanted nothing to do with the fire department when I was a kid. You know, okay. I grew up and my mom's a nurse. My dad was a New York City fireman, and I was home alone all the time. I was raised, you know, with my grandparents a lot, and I was on the go a lot. Right. You know, going from I would wake up in the morning, go to this house, and then, you know, walk to school, take care of myself a little bit, do the before school programs, after school programs.
Right.
So at first it was like, I don't want any part of this life. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I want to fly fighter jets. I want to be like Top Gun. I want to be Maverick, you know? And so I wanted nothing to do with it. And then my dad got hurt, line of duty, and he moved us out to Jackson, and he joined the fire department about probably 2-3 years after 9/11, after he let his wounds heal and kind of get himself back on track. And that was part of his healing process. You know, he found the local volunteer department, and he wanted to be a part of it. And he got back into it after, I mean, first of all, the doctors told him that you can never be a firefighter ever again. That's one of the things that ruined his career. Not ruined his career, but ended his career.
Right.
His back was so badly broken and damaged that they said, you might not even walk again. He's one of those guys that just said, okay, I'll show you.
Yeah, that's what we do.
It's part of it. So he joined the Volleys, and then as I was coming up, he asked me one day, he's like, well, what do you think? I was like 15 years old. He's like, you want to try this out? I was like, no, I don't want to wake up in the middle of the night. I don't want to do all that crazy stuff. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
So then I turned 16, and he started bringing me. I didn't have an option. And man, the first time I got on the back of the engine, 16-year-old wide-eyed kid, you know, lights going, siren going, and you're just like, man, this
hooks you.
There's no unless you've been there, which everyone that's probably listening has been there.
Right.
There's no other feeling in the world.
Yeah.
And just to know that what you're doing, like the whole reason why we're getting on this truck and doing what we're doing, it changes you. That moment right there, I remember the first time I ever got off the fire engine, my dad looked at me and he goes, what do you think? And I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is
it. You don't have to convince me anybody anymore. I'm in.
Yeah, I don't want to fly jets anymore. I want to do this.
This is way cooler than flying jets. No offense. Anybody watching flies jets.
Yeah, I mean, if you fly jets, power to you, but our job is better.
Yeah, this is good stuff. So your dad obviously had a big inspiration on
yeah, man. He's my hero, dude. He's been through so much, and he taught me 99% of what I know today. You know, who to be, how to be. We made some mistakes along the way. You know, we did a lot. We us streamers, we have that hard knock mentality. Like, you know, if someone says, hey, don't touch that, it's hot. I'm going to touch it and then find out. We have that hard knock mentality. But yeah, he taught me everything I know. He really gave me the best setup I could have to lead my life and do what I wanted to do. And he set me straight, and anytime I would kind of get out of the lane a little bit, he would be there and check me and say, no, this is what you do. So, you know, that's
awesome.
Yeah.
And then obviously because of him, you got involved in a volunteer company yourself, right?
Yep. Yes, I did. I said I was a junior for 2 years, and then at 17, he gave me an option. But it really wasn't an option. It was when school starts asking you what college you want to go to, what do you want to do. Right. He looked at me and he said, hey, listen, you got two things. Go get a job, join the military. I'll show you. I brought home a Marine Corps recruiter. And he goes, yeah, absolutely no way, that's not happening. Right. So I work with the Marine Corps recruiter, and he says, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want to be a fireman. He goes, all right, I'll be back tomorrow. Marine Corps recruiter brings back the Air Force recruiter. Air Force recruiter says, all right, how do we do this? How do we get you to sign the paper? I'm 17 years old. I have no idea about life yet. Right. And my dad goes, you guarantee him a job as a fireman in the Air Force? I'll sign this paper right now. That was it. February 22nd, 2006. Okay. I enlisted in the military. and I didn't look back.
So were you able to do the firefighting like they promised?
Oh yeah, that was it, man. I was guaranteed a job, and
That's great.
I got lucky. I got a spot in the Air Force Reserve Unit with the 514th Mobility Wing at a McGuire Airfield,
Cool.
and it was an adventure, man.
So at this point, it's you're ingrained now in the firefighting world.
Yeah.
You know, there's no turning back.
No, there was no turning back. I mean, from I enlisted in February, and I did the delayed entry program. So I left for boot camp July 5th, 2006. And then I started fire school September 11th, 2006.
Wow.
That was my first day of fire school.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so a little full circle there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So obviously in the volunteer company, you rose up from a junior member, right?
Yeah.
So tell me what it was like to start moving up.
So it was more my arrogance. It was more of my big mouth, insert foot mentality, like, oh, okay, you think you can be the guy.
Right.
Show us, you know?
Right.
And at the time, the company I was with was young. We were growing. We were developing. And I definitely had some help from my old man because he was moving through the ranks too.
Right.
And he brought me along with him. And with that, my best friend was also involved. And we made a deal. We said, well, where you go, I go. Where he goes, I go. And
Just like the movie.
Yeah. You go, we go, man. And that was it. We stayed together and we moved up together. And
who's your friend?
Dan Conti.
Bro, you gotta give him a shout out. Right?
Yeah, it's my boy Dan. He's
cool.
He's been he's been blood to me through thick and thin.
Right,
every
right.
bad situation, every good situation, Dan's been there with me.
Awesome.
And we've been through some good fires together. We've been through hell together. Moved together, lived together. I was his best man. He's my best man.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
man. That's
yeah.
awesome. Now, what's he doing?
So he actually works for a construction company. He's a
Awesome.
safety engineer.
Cool.
So he's living the good life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what company was that in Jackson?
Jackson Mills.
Jackson Mills.
Station 54.
And then you became an officer, right?
Yes.
Tell me
yeah.
what that was like.
So I actually took a little bit of an unconventional route. At the time, the officer lineup was pretty much set, and we needed a way to break in.
Okay.
So my old man came up with the idea of, all right, well, let's make these guys safety officers. And at the time, it was a big, these kids have no experience.
Right.
You know, they're full of...
Because typically those guys have some experience, some time.
Yeah, they're supposed to be the senior guy.
Right,
They're
right.
past chief.
They
knows
don't do
a thing or
that.
two. Yeah, exactly. No, we took the unconventional route, and it was more of a proving ground at the time because we didn't have a lot of senior guys that were still around or really coming around, and they stuck us in that role and said, all right, boys, you want to figure it out. Now's your chance. You know, you're 20, 21 years old. You're full of certs. You know, you got a stack this big, but what do you know?
That's
Show
a piece
us.
of paper, right?
Yeah,
right.
And I mean, it's funny now. Like, I look on it now. I didn't know a thing. I was just running by the seat of my pants and just literally just going balls to the wall.
Right.
Everything. And I made a lot of mistakes. Looking back, I'm horrified at that person.
Right.
Because it's like, what were you doing?
But at the time, you know, you're just doing it.
Yeah.
You don't realize until you get older and more mature and some experience.
And
like,
that
wait
was
a
my
minute,
and that
what
was
the hell
my
was I
life.
doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all I wanted to do was just be that guy. I wanted to be so much more, and I wanted to just keep going and going and going. And I'd always thought, like, I could be better. I could do better. I could do more.
Right.
And it was a learning experience. And then
So how far did you get?
I made my way up to first lieutenant, and
good.
I loved every second of it, man. Like, unless you've been an officer before and you've volunteer career, whatever it is, until you sit in the front of a rig and you have people's lives that are in your hands, like, you know, I really didn't appreciate the officer role until I became a sergeant in the military.
Okay.
Like, that was the first true moment where I looked around. I was like, you're in charge of people. These people depend on you. You know, you're not just making decisions for yourself. You're making decisions for them, and they're looking to you. And that was really the first times I started waking up and saying, like, well, wow, this is different.
Yeah. When you take on a leadership role, it's so much more, you know. It's not just, hey, do that. It's you need to know who people are. You have to cultivate people. You know, it's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And to be a young man being in a supervisor role.
I was a young boy.
It's tough.
I was a young boy.
It's tough. It's tough. So tell me about your best experience so far being a firefighter.
So my best experience is we just had a call up here. There's a lot of construction going on in Harrison right now. There's a lot of redevelopment. Town is experiencing a boom of just
I saw the construction coming here.
You got these monster buildings going up. They're building high rises. They're building 5-story big hotel buildings, everything like that. And so we get hit out the other day for we're out training, and we get hit out for a fall victim. So routine. You know, we do EMS backup here. We do ALS calls. So we're like, that's a little weird. Why would we get hit out for a fall victim? You know, maybe it's the ambulance is out. Maybe we're going as a first responder. So as we're going there, they upgrade it and they send the tour commander. So we're like, okay, are they not telling us something?
Right.
And it's one of those situations. So we pull into the construction site and everyone's outside and they're waving, the arms are going.
Yeah, usually that's a bad sign when you start. You know.
So we had a probie in the back, and he's like, "Hey, is that usually happening? You know, are they always like waving and yelling like that?" We're like, "Oh no, this ain't good.
Yeah, this is a job.
Yeah, something's going on here." So we pulled up, and they're like, "Oh, he's inside." So my officer and the probie were grabbing the EMS equipment, and my officer told me, "Go in there and see what we got."
Right.
So I come around the corner. It's a little bit of a maze to get into the construction site, and we had a worker fall 4 stories from the roof and impaled himself on a piece of rebar.
Wow.
Yeah, and man, if you're not ready for something like that, you come around the corner and you see this dude having the worst day of his life, sitting there on a piece of rebar, everything just goes, oh wow, what now?
Yeah.
So my officer comes around the corner, he goes, what do you got? And I'm like, you gotta come see this. I don't even know what to tell you.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
something
one of those
you gotta
things.
see.
Yeah, I'm like, how do I even start? I'm like, you know what? Just come look for yourself.
Right.
So yeah, we were able to fully extricate him, and he lived. He's making a full recovery right now, and hopefully, last we got, he was doing okay. You know, he's got a long road, a lot of surgeries and everything like that. But yeah, man, that was definitely my most recent best memory. I mean, you know, I'm sure if you look back in your catalog of memories, there's so many good ones.
Absolutely.
But that was recent, and that sticks out in my mind because
awesome.
That's one of those things. You know, you look at that kind of call, and you're like, man, that's what we do this for. Like that's you don't see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's Chicago Fire.
I was just gonna
something like,
bro, it's so funny. I was just gonna say that. I'm like, that is like a scene from Chicago Fire.
Yeah, and it's funny too because everyone makes fun of it, and they're like, oh man, that show is so fake, and you don't ever expect anything, and you come around the corner, and you're like, oh man, that's different.
And how awesome is it that, you know, thinking back of your training and everything you went through to get to where you're at, and then you're the guy.
Yeah.
Like,
next thing you know, you're in this hole.
Yeah, you're calling 911 and you're showing up.
Yeah, you're in this elevator shaft with this guy having the worst day of his life, and you're like, oh, okay, I got to figure out how to get you out of here.
Right, and it's not like, you know, anyone else is coming, you're it. So then training is so important, right?
Yeah, and it's funny too because like with our pro, we talk about it afterwards, and we go through the whole call like, all right, this is what I did. Maybe I should have done it this way.
Right.
You know,
debrief is huge.
Yeah, and especially being a career department, one of the best things we have is that kitchen table.
Oh, I love that
because you could solve the world's problems at that kitchen table.
Absolutely.
And so you come back here, and man, things were happening that you don't even know are happening. And you're like, you did that? I didn't see that. Like, okay, maybe I could have done that faster and everything like that. So just watching how our probie was just sitting there just taking it all in and really just soaking it up, and like, you know, that wide-eyed look, like, wow, this really happened, and letting it sink in, you know, and just it's so cool to see happen and just sit there and talk about it, like, wow, we really did that.
I gotta tell you, you know, you mentioned a table. I just want to share an experience for you because when I first got here and I was looking around, and you know, you showed me around, you brought me into the kitchen, just being able to sit at that table with you guys,
it's different.
It was awesome.
It's different.
You know what I mean? It was special to me, and everyone there obviously made me feel at home.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like one of the brothers here. And
this is the best place to work, man. Every single guy here, from every single person, is so unique, and so everyone brings so much to that table.
Sure.
And the average person doesn't realize what that table means. You know, like you sit there at that kitchen table, that's where your day starts. That's where your shift ends. That's where you let out your emotions.
Right.
You know, it might get ugly, it might get bad. You know,
there was a little ball breaking, by the way. I like it. It's all in good fun,
man. You know, as soon as everything, when it needs to happen, it happens.
Right.
And if there's a beef, you talk about it there, and that's where you solve your problems. So.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot happens at that table, and
there's a lot that happens.
I like the lazy Susan too.
Oh, I think it's the best. I don't know. I don't know how anyone survives without a lazy Susan. Like I ever said, if I get a big table, like even at Thanksgiving dinner, I'm like, man, if we had a lazy Susan, this would be great.
Yeah, that thing is huge.
Just watching it go round and round all dinner long.
So speaking of Harrison, tell me a little bit about Harrison.
Okay, so Harrison is it's a unique place. We're a redevelopment. The town's got a lot of history in it. So there's a lot of
the pictures upstairs, man. Awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of factories that were based out of here. There's a lot of things that go on here. Like there's the Super Industrial Corporation there right down the street.
Okay.
It's just a unique place.
Yeah.
We have Red Bull Stadium that we're first due to, and that's a unique hazard in itself. It's a different atmosphere. I mean, unless you work in a town that has a stadium,
Right.
you got to deal with the uniqueness of it. You don't understand like what goes on there.
Yeah.
So it's a cool place. We run an engine and a ladder, and a tour commander. So normally we're three man per rig when we're full staffed, it's 4 man per rig and a tour commander.
All right, cool. So the first piece over here, what's that?
Yep, this is engine 3. Engine 3 is our first 2 apparatus, our first 2 engine. So it's a 2005 E1, and like I said, we do EMS calls.
Right.
So the way it works is that anything ALS, we respond to.
Okay.
So if it fits that ALS criteria, we go.
Right.
If the primary BLS is out of town, then we go as first responder to any call. So if you stub your toe,
Right.
fall victims, anything like that, that's where engine 3 will go to that.
Okay.
And then we also have the ambulance here. So if we're unable to get an ambulance either in town or mutual aid, we'll actually come off the ladder and we'll man the ambulance to provide the service to the town, take them to the hospital, come back, and put the ladder back in service.
Oh, awesome.
So it's a unique place. It's a lot of towns don't do what we do. And
Right.
you know, ultimately at the end of the day, it's about providing the best service we can to the taxpayers of Harrison. That's
awesome.
what we're here for.
And then what is that, a squad on the other end?
Yeah, so right now it's acting as a squad because our ladder is being replaced. We had a 91 Simon Duplex LTI.
Yeah.
All the history buffs out there.
Yeah. It's
And,
an oldie.
yeah, unfortunately, it was hit by a dump truck back in May, and one of our guys got a little dinged up in it, but it was a bad situation.
Yeah.
But luckily, the town really worked well with us, and we put together a committee, and we got a brand new 2018 Pierce coming out.
That's
to
exciting.
Us. Yeah, I can't wait.
So speaking of which, you had bragging to me about being a tiller operator. Tell me about
That's
that.
it, man. Let me tell you, if you've never got the chance to tiller,
Never did.
you're missing out. Because tillering is one of the coolest things you can do as a fireman.
Right.
I mean, first of all, you got the best seat in the house.
Yeah.
You got the view, panoramic, you're up above, it's great. But as a new guy, let me tell you, it is the scariest thing you're going to do because you get in this thing and you have no brakes. So the first thing you start doing is you start stomping on the floor.
imaginary brake?
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, please stop. And everything's opposite. So when you turn, it's turn away from danger. That was the first thing they tell you. Turn away from danger every time. And you're like, all right, well, what does that mean? And then you get back there and you start wiggling around. You're like, okay, I got to figure this out.
Right.
And then luckily my dad did a little bit of tillering in his career. So he gave me a little quick hint with the thumbs. When you're backing up, just use your thumbs like a truck driver.
Oh, that's funny.
So you learn quick. You either and it's one of those things like when you're a tillerman, you either have it or you don't because it's just you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
I mean, I've seen it in magazines. I've seen it in the movies. I saw Kramer do it on the Seinfeld.
You feel like Kramer sometimes.
Yeah, but yeah, I've never actually been in the seat. So what the hell was that like when you first got in there?
And terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying.
I bet.
And it's unique too because it's not your normal response. You know, you're used to getting in the back of the engine, throwing your gear on, throwing your pack on, and you pull up to a fire and off you go. With the tiller, you're obviously limited, so you got to pull up, get off, finish dressing, put your pack on, open the compartment, put your stuff on, get your tools, and go meet your officer.
Right.
So the way we run is the tillerman is your interior.
Okay.
So the officer is going to go interior. He's going to wait for you. You're going to go in together, and you guys will search, interior search, and everything that goes along with that.
Wow.
So you got to get dressed, meet your officer, and don't make them wait.
It's a lot of work, though. Honestly, I mean,
it is.
Yeah.
It's. I guess the best word is unique. I mean, it's just something I've become adapted to it. That's the way that's how you operate. You know, I know where, in the old truck, everything was just fluid. You know, it just, you knew how to do it. The new one's going to be here soon, and it's going to be a difference. It's going to be a big change with driving and just all the safety mechanisms that Pierce has built into their new apparatus. But it's an experience.
It's awesome that the city was working with you to get what you need.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
It took a lot of research too because you look around us and like Kearney has a tower, and you look at Newark, it's all straight jobs.
Right.
But we're very limited here. We have a lot of bridges. There's a lot of trains that go through here, and we have bridges that are 12'8", and it's a height. You look at any straight stick, any bucket, you're not making that.
No.
So we literally had to build this custom truck from scratch and make it meet all the requirements that we need here.
Yeah, a lot of work.
It
a
was
lot of pencil and paper.
Yeah. A lot of pencil and paper, a lot of crossing out, erasing, and back and forth. This is what we can, maybe we can do this. Maybe we can get away with this. And at the end of the day, we came up with a brand new tiller, and it's gonna be big for this town and this department.
So Pierce makes a nice piece. I mean, they got their shit together.
Yeah, they do it right, man. I mean, I grew up on Seagraves, so I was the biggest homer for Seagraves you could ever imagine.
I got to tell you, I love Seagrave.
You can't.
I love Seagrave, man.
You cannot, and
nothing like a Seagrave sound.
It's the best.
Yeah.
So that was what we were going for, and then the way it worked out, Pierce was it, and it surprised a lot of people for the obvious reasons. But
right.
They work great with us. The manufacturers, fire and safety, and they were phenomenal. The whole process from start to finish was absolutely amazing.
That's awesome.
And it was a good learning. I mean, for me, for a 30-year-old guy coming up in the department, like it was to experience this now and get this under my belt, to know what to expect in the future. It's huge for me.
And I'll tell you, it's look, thinking back of what you said earlier when we spoke. I mean, to be 30 years old, 4 years on the company, on the department, and already you're being tasked with, getting a ladder in place. That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean,
it's good.
A lot of it is because of, like I said before, just arrogance and big mouth.
Right.
You might shoot your mouth off sometimes and say, "Yeah, we could do this. I could figure this out."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, someone
figure
challenges
this
you.
out.
Yeah, here you go. You think you could do it?
Yeah.
Show me.
It's awesome.
But
man.
I'm used to it. That's the way I've always learned, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Tell me, so you came here 4 years ago.
Yep.
Tell me about the culture of this department. Tell me about it.
This place is tight knit. I mean, we work very, very closely together because we're not your normal average city department. When people think of North Jersey fire departments, they think of the big dogs. They think of Newark, they think of Jersey City, North Hudson, and you see all the videos and the way they operate. They show up to fires with 2 trucks, 3 engines, a squad, and a chief, and that's their first assignment. That's their first alarm.
Right.
We roll up an engine, a truck, and a tour commander, and that's it. So 7 to 9 guys, 2 of which are staying out. You've got your pump operator and your tour commander, and it's go figure it out. You got to bring your best to the table every single day. You can't come here and say, I'm just not feeling it today. Today's not the day. No, you don't have that option.
You can't come here half speed.
No, you got to come here and you got to be ready to go at all times. I mean,
that's where rubber meets the road, man.
Yeah, and it's a good place. We're right in the middle of a lot. Like I told you before, we border Newark, we border Kearney, we border East Newark, and we're mutual aid to North Hudson, we're mutual aid to Jersey City. We're on their box alarm assignments, and you can't be off. You got to come here and you got to really know what you do. Because the uniqueness about this place and the tightness about this place is because there's no room to hide.
I love that.
There's nowhere to hide.
I love that.
It's good and bad.
Guys can come on. They come onto the job and they're like, oh, I can do this, I do that. But then when you're small like that and you only got
talk
4
to talk,
guys,
walk the walk.
That's it. You're gonna see what they're all about.
Yeah.
You're gonna like that.
Yeah, and it shows. I mean, some guys have had bad days, some guys have good days, but I mean, man for man, everyone in this department can hold their weight. We say to each other all the time, you put us up against anyone on their best day, and we're there. We're right there.
I noticed in there around the kitchen table, you guys definitely got to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could tell just the way you guys are meshing, you're gelling.
I mean, one of the biggest things about being a career fireman is, you come into this job with so much expectation and so much thought behind it. Like, oh man, I'm a city fireman. I'm going to be a North Jersey fireman. You go anywhere in this country and you say, I'm a North Jersey fireman. People would be like, oh man.
Yeah.
But 90% of it is dealing with people, not just the citizens outside, not just the taxpayers, not the people you see on EMS calls.
Right.
It's dealing with each other. You're living with each other. You're away from your family.
This is a whole nother family.
Yeah. My wife jokes all the time. She's like, you spend more time with them sometimes than you do with me. And it's true. It's honestly true.
And obviously, you figured out how to cook here.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that didn't happen before here.
I had a hidden talent. I'm good at paying attention to something and watching, and then I can figure it out. I can watch you do something once or twice, and I'll figure it out. Even if I don't do it well or suck at it, I'll figure it out.
Well, that's good to know because you watched me put all this together.
This was a production, that's for sure.
So now I know you watch them one more time, you can do this.
Oh, I'm in, man. I'm in. Anytime you need an assistant, bro, I'm right there. All
right. So we always talk about the good stuff, but give me your worst experience, bro.
Okay. So my worst experience is I got to go back to Jackson Mills, and this call is one of the things that sticks out in my mind, just 100%. I don't know if they still do it, but do you remember like when Baskin Robbins used to do like the Firefighter scoop night?
Yes.
And it was like the same day every
Yep.
year, and like all the departments would go to their local Baskin Robbins. So one night we went to, we were doing the scoop night. We were out there. We had the whole department out there. We had we had duty crews set up and everything like that. And my boy Dan I talked about before, it was me and him on the ladder, and we were kind of short that night, so it was just him and I.
Right.
And we got a call from Freehold. They were special requesting us to an MVA with entrapment, and they special requested our plasma cutter. So that was a unique tool we had that not many people knew how to use. I wasn't good at it. My dad was.
Right.
Dan was pretty good at it, and so my dad said, "All right, let's get in the truck and let's go."
Right.
So it was me, Dan, another guy, and my dad. We went to this call. It was a drive too. It was like 12, 15 minutes to get from there. It was down on like 527.
Okay.
Like past the S curves up in the like the hills of Freehold a little bit.
Right.
And so we get there, and it ended up being a motorcycle versus a pickup truck. So as we're walking up, everything felt bad. As we're pulling up, you could see the helicopter was in the field with the motor off.
Yeah,
just
that's not a
sitting
good
there.
sign.
So you're sitting there like, all right, this is weird. And one of the first things that jumps out at me about that call was just the looks on the faces of the guys there that had been working there. Everyone looked defeated. Everyone just had their heads down, like that sullen look of, we don't know what to do anymore. And I don't ever want to say like they didn't know what to do, but everyone just looked defeated. They looked just broken. So we come walking up, and we have the plasma cutter, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. So the chief says, "Hey, listen," to my dad. He's like, "Hey, chief, I got a kid under the car. He's pinned because he's impaled. So we can't figure out how to get him." Right. So we kind of went at it like a puzzle piece. Like, okay, what's happening here? What ended up happening was, you know, the old Silverados, they had like those tow hooks on the front.
Yes.
So the kid laid the bike down, the bike slid, and the kid got fish hooked. The hook went into his abdomen, ended up hitting his rib cage, and
oh man.
Yeah. So he was kind of propped up. So it was like he was arched, and the hook was holding him off the ground, and he was laying flat.
Wow, that's a job.
It was. I mean, again, this is a couple years. I'm probably 22 at this time.
Yeah.
And I think I know what I'm doing. And you get underneath the pickup truck, and you're like, I don't even know where to start. Like, these guys have been here for 45 minutes, and they did everything, and they're good.
Right.
Freehold's a good company. They do a lot of cut jobs.
Right.
They have a huge rescue, and they have.
It's a beautiful rescue.
It's
a monster.
Yeah, and we're like, what? But I mean, man, I can't. I hate to keep going on about it, but my old man knew what to do. Yeah. And we figured out a plan, and we said, this is what we're gonna do. And we had Monarch has the MD unit, so they come and they're crawling underneath. They barely crawl underneath this pickup truck with us, and they start working with this kid, and the kid's alive. He's talking to us, and it's
amazing. The human body amazes me with like trauma like that, and you're alive and you're talking.
And he knew what was going on, and it's like I think he knew what was going on.
Right,
you know,
right.
At this point, it's just a blank memory, but. What makes it the worst call for me is right as we were about to finish, we actually ended up taking the hook and dismantling the car around the hook and taking the car because we had to transport him with the hook in. It was the only way we knew.
Yeah, obviously that's not coming out.
Yeah, and with the MD there, they said, like, listen, we need to transport him like this. But right before we took him off, he looked over and he said, am I going to die? And that's like, again, you hear about stuff like that, and it just breaks.
I've literally been in that situation, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
It changes you.
It does.
That moment changes you so bad.
It's crazy.
Because you're looking at this kid, and I'm a kid. I'm looking at this kid who's only a couple of years younger than me, and I'm like, yeah, man, but you know deep down, no, you don't have a chance. Yeah. And sure enough, man, we took the pressure off. We got him down on the ground. We took it on the backboard, and the second his back touched that backboard, the lights out, and it was over. And you know, he ultimately passed away at the hospital, but it broke your heart because you know that every single person there did everything they could for this guy, and just the wrong time. Yeah,
sometimes the outcome, that's the outcome. You know? I've been exactly. I mean, listening to you tell me that, it brings me right back to my situation. You know, and I remember the same thing, holding someone's hand and exactly what he said to me.
Yeah, because you don't want to lie to a person, but
and of course that's what you say.
Yeah,
of course you can. I remember saying, absolutely. Yeah, you're gonna get out of this. You're good. Don't worry about it. You know,
I'm here for you.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's tough, man.
It changes you in a way, and
it
really sticks with you. And Yeah, and that's one of the things about, when you're a volunteer in the town that you live in and you grow up in, and that's most of the case.
Yeah.
These are people you know. These are someone's family. This is your sister's friend.
Yep.
Or, you deal with people you know all the time, and it just compounds. And every time it just hurts more and more and more.
No, I agree. It's again, like you said earlier, unless you're in it,
You just don't understand.
It's very difficult to understand. And again, if you're in the town you work in or volunteer in, whatever it is, you're going to run into people that you either went to school with, your family with, or worse, your family.
Yeah.
And
even with us, like as career guys, I might not live in Harrison, but you grow to know these people because I'm here every fourth day.
Right.
And these are the people that I see every day. I see the people walking down the street.
Right.
The kids that walk past the firehouse, the kids that walk in. We have a playground next door, and
I saw that.
We
always pretty cool.
They actually just redid that playground, and they did a whole thing. It's a fireman's memorial playground. It's a
that's
beautiful
awesome.
thing.
That's awesome, man.
And you see these people every day. You know the names and everything, and it just you become emotionally connected. And that's one of the hardest parts about this job is that the fact that you have to deal with people on their worst day.
Yep. And don't think for a second that the impact you're making here with those kids on our playground.
It sticks.
It absolutely
always sticks.
Will. It will till they're older.
Yeah.
They'll always remember that playground next to the firehouse.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So that's a pretty bad experience, and that brings me to why we're here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not the only one. Yeah. So, I guess a good segue for us is what we're talking about is, we talk about this compounding issue, and one of the biggest epidemics that we're dealing with right now, not only career, this is nationwide, is, firefighter suicide and depression and PTSD.
Yep.
And there's so much, we could talk for hours about what we can do.
Right.
So my personal story is, I work part-time at Six Flags at Great Adventure as a fireman. I've been there a long time. I started as a lifeguard. I worked my way through. Was an EMT and a fireman. I work with a guy named George Redner, and George was your typical big, happy-go-lucky Irish fireman. Had the big fighting Irish thing on his arm. He bled for this job. Everything about George was the fire department. The dude lived, breathed, ate. This was always about. It's all he wanted to do, and he was a big teddy bear, man. He was a big mush, but he was a bad dude. He would charge in with anybody. I never got the chance to fight a fire outside of Six Flags with him.
Right.
But I would follow him anywhere because I know he always had my back. He was just that type of guy.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, August 1st of 2015, George took his own life. And one of my biggest regrets is that there's so many signs that you can notice around you, and there's so many things that you could do to prevent it, and everything was right in front of me, but I didn't know enough. I didn't teach myself, and it's just one of those things, it's a stigma with this job. You don't want to be the guy to come back from a bad call and say, man, hey,
that's affecting me.
Yeah, because it's a stigma, and you don't want to do it. But with the generation that we're coming up with, what you really, I think we need to focus on is, with the newer guys and the young guys, you got to teach them, no, that's not right. It's not right anymore.
Right.
If you're feeling something, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's absolutely talk about it. Don't let all the signs go unnoticed. Don't be afraid to talk. The world we live in today is a crazy place, and there's so much going on.
Yeah.
You turn on the news every day, and something's happening.
Yeah.
So the only way to get better is to talk to each other. Be human again. Talk about your feelings. I was guilty of it. My whole life growing up, I shut everything out. And I didn't know, you don't know how to talk to people. You don't know how to describe, I feel this way because of this reason.
Right.
And that's what's killing us. That's flat out what's killing us.
Yeah.
And guys are just taking the wrong road. Guys find the bottle, they find the prescription pills, and they hide from their demons, and you got to find your way out. There's so much you can do. Your podcast with Chris was amazing.
Thank you.
And that's one of those things that, what Chris and you guys talk about is such a big factor to this. Right. Because you got to take the time. You got to take the time and effort to make yourself better.
Right.
Get yourself physically better. Get yourself mentally better.
Right.
Keep yourself in shape. One of the things I found with coming here is that when I leave here after a bad shift, if something's affecting me, it's not going to go away.
No.
I could just ignore it for 3 days and say, oh, I don't want to deal with that. But after that 72-hour off period, I'm going to walk back in here, and it's still going to be here. It's like a ghost. It's going to be here.
Absolutely.
I can't run from it. The second I walk in here, it's going to be here.
Yep. And what I noticed is, I've been doing this a long time too, and what happens is, you're exactly right. It doesn't go away.
No.
What happens is it just gets stored.
Yeah.
And then another bad call happens.
Yep.
And then that kind of takes over, and then you dwell on that for a day or two.
Yeah.
And then
You start
another
stacking
bad
them.
day call comes, and then
Yeah.
next thing you know, they just keep piling up, and then eventually something bad's gonna happen.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. I mean, look at these facts here. In 2017, more police and fire suicides than there were line of duty deaths combined. That's crazy.
That's scary.
That's
man.
crazy.
Yeah.
So you're talking 103 firemen committed suicide, and there were 93 line of duty deaths. 140 police officers committed suicide. There was 129 line of duty deaths. That's insane. The fact that we're doubling deaths in the service with suicide it's got to be better. I pulled some stats here, and it's just crazy.
I'm going to tell you, I'm literally taken back by those numbers.
Dude, these numbers.
I had no
and
idea.
It gets worse. It gets worse because you look at this, right? You're as a public servant, as a first responder, you're 5 times more likely to suffer than the average civilian. 5 times. It's a decent amount.
Yeah.
But here's the facts. Here's where it gets crazy. So you talk about PTSD, right? As a firefighter, 22% of firefighters have depression and PTSD. It's a fact. Police department, 35%. Look at depression, 15%, 35%. Suicide rate, 48%.
Holy shit.
This is...
And that's why those numbers are so high.
Yeah.
It's
crazy. Like, there's so much more we could do, and I think where we lack as a service is we're selfish, because we don't ever think about ourselves. So
it's true.
I mean selfish in a very different way.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
We're not selfish to others.
Right.
We're selfish to ourselves.
To ourselves, right.
You can go, me and my wife talk about it all the time, and God bless her for helping me heal and become more of a better human and learn how to take care of myself.
Right.
Because you got to learn, like, all right, if you come back from a bad shift, right? You have a bad day here. I go home and I walk through the door, and you're irritable, and you're grouchy, and I just want to sleep. I don't want to deal with this today.
Right.
Okay, well, the day goes on. You still have tasks to do. You still have things to do. You still have a life to live.
Right.
So sitting there with that attitude saying, I don't want to do this. It doesn't go away. The things don't go away. You have to face them, and you have to face them head on, and you got to deal with them.
Yeah.
So you got to learn to... I think the biggest thing that we could do is start looking at a process of how to fix it. What steps as a leader, as a chief or a chief officer, what can you do to make the people underneath you understand better? From the senior guy that's been in the firehouse 40 years to the probie who just walked in yesterday.
Right.
What can you do? We have all these crazy processes and rules of how to deal with things, right? But what's the rule when you come back from a bad call? There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It starts from the top, and it's got to work its way down. As a chief officer, as a fireman, as a lieutenant, no matter who you are, you got to learn to be able to say, hey, listen, I think we need to talk about this.
Well, it's good. There was just a really bad incident that occurred. I'm not going to mention where it was, but a captain I know from that department said that as soon as the call was over, him and the chief, they organized grief counseling right away.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
And he said to me, that was like the first thing they talked about.
Yeah.
And thinking back years ago, no way.
It would never happen.
It would never. If you
happen.
made it available to people, it certainly wasn't mandatory.
Yeah.
And guys would be like,
Exactly.
If you can't handle that, then you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, we're all guilty of it. I mean, you saw, like in Jackson, we had Reverend Dan. Reverend Dan is a saint. Like, this man, before you could even think like, oh man, we're gonna have that grief counseling thing.
Right.
He was there already. You come back and he was sitting there in the building waiting. Okay, boys, let's talk.
Yeah. That's awesome.
For me, I was lucky. I got away with, my feelings because I had a dad who was usually with me and who had been through a lot
gets
worse. Yeah.
He totally gets it.
Yeah, I mean, the guy survived, years in the FDNY, and
Right.
he started to heal himself.
Greatest fire department in the world.
Sometimes. I think, Harrison's probably better. But
That's a good answer.
I can't let him get that credit.
Yeah, that's good.
But, I had that ability to talk to him. And when I didn't want to talk to him, I had my best friend who was also there with me. And me and him kept each other alive through our, like I said, in the beginning.
Right.
We've been through the worst together. We've been through the best together. I don't think, if I didn't have those kind of people in my life, which the average guy doesn't, the average volunteer career guy, they don't have a dad who's retired. A lot do, thankfully.
Right.
Or they don't have a best friend who was there riding with you from a lot of these calls. And, they don't have that ability to sit there and say, hey, listen, what do you think about this? Because I don't feel right, and it just starts with a conversation. It starts with a conversation. But there's so much more we could do. There's so much more that, as a chief, I really want to challenge, especially the chiefs of Ocean County.
Right.
Like, the things that happen in Ocean County are unbelievable.
People don't realize.
No.
People don't realize the crazy shit that goes on there.
Yeah, from LBI to Jackson, like, there's, I can't even begin to explain a good starting point. Yeah. But, you listen to your podcast with Chris Aldridge.
Right.
Talk about Sandy, with Gonzo.
Right.
All these guys, you can sit there and look at that podcast, right? And you look at their faces. And as soon as you bring up Sandy,
you can see it.
You can see the body language, the
Absolutely.
shoulders hunch, and all of a sudden they're like, oh. Even when you were talking about what you went through and your experiences, seeing guys you knew, their houses destroyed, that affects you as a person, and there's so much to it. There's so much.
Got a job.
The engine. Gonna move this out of the way.
Attention, engine 3, engine 3, respond. 316 Morgan Street, that's 316 Morgan Street. First floor, difficulty breathing, 906 and 256.
Yeah, so caught a run in the middle of that.
Yeah.
That definitely makes for good TV.
Yeah, man. It's my month off the engine though, so I don't get to do the first responder this month.
Yes, you're in the ladder.
Yeah, that's my favorite place to be.
So when the ladder's not here, what do you want?
So we rotate. Because we're a small department, and we really don't have the ability to do assigned riding positions every shift. You kind of have to be good at everything. So, we have 8 new guys in the firehouse. So if you're the senior guy that day, you might have to be driving the engine.
Right.
If you're the junior guy, you might get lucky, ride the back. It all it's all changes day to day. It's fluid.
Right.
On my tour, for the most part, I know I'm either going to be tillering or in the back of the engine. When my partner, who's not here, if he's on vacation or if he's sick, then I'll move up. I'll drive the engine, and the probie's in the back. So it changes every day. Every day is something different. It's new, and it's good. I mean, it's good because you don't get complacent. For me, obviously I don't like pumping. I don't like driving. Who wants to be outside? Who wants to sit out there and do it? Especially right now, it's cold. I don't want to be stuck in there. I don't want to deal with all that. So, but it's good. It keeps you on your feet.
Yeah.
It keeps you fluid, and it keeps you to the ability to say, like, all right, well, I never have to drive. No, you got to drive.
Right,
you got to know what to do. So
yeah, you got to be able to do everything.
Yeah,
which is good. So right before you guys said the box, tell me about these statistics are alarming, man.
Yeah,
they're alarming.
So actually, I think what I was trying to do is I was trying to challenge the chiefs of Ocean County, come up with a program.
Right.
So in light of George committing suicide, there's a lot of fallout. One of the things about suicide is people are in so much pain and suffering so bad that at the moment it's your only option. That's right. For me what I became, because at first when George died, I was mad. I was so mad. I was like, you're my boy. I work with you 2 days a week. We go out drinking together. We talk about girls at the time. I was single at the time, so we talk about girls together. You heard that, Lisa. And And even like my wife got to know her. You know, when
Right.
we started dating, George was still alive and part of our lives, and
Right.
and you know, she was a big reason to save me because she was there to pick up my pieces
Right,
and
right.
teach me how to rebuild myself. But there's a lot to that, you know. But so some of the fallout and one of the beautiful things that George and his family did in light of George's death, they came up with a program. So in Pennsylvania, there's this thing called the Code Green campaign.
Okay.
And it's all about suicide prevention, and it's all about how to deal with this, you know, how to help families deal with it. And then one of the guys that was associated with George's fire company out in Pennsylvania is actually a state representative, and they
Okay.
started a bill and they started legislation, and it just started gaining momentum. And it's still in its infancy, but
Right.
you know, there's so much more we could do as a state and as firemen, and as you know, we're here to help people. So part of our
Right.
job is to help people. Why aren't we helping each other?
Right.
You know, so part of this campaign and what they do is it's almost like there's a call center, right? So there's a 24/7 call center, and
Okay.
if you are feeling, I wish I should have had the number for it and everything like that, but
I'll put it on the. I'll put it
yeah,
on
yeah,
the-
I'll definitely find it
Yep.
and stuff like that. But you know, like there's obviously the suicide hotlines and there's
Right.
all these things, but people are always afraid and they don't know about these resources. You know, like for me and you know, if I'm suffering from something that I saw on the job, if I
Right.
saw something that's haunting me, you know, like if you have a ghost that you just can't shake,
Right.
you know, I don't want to talk about it to some Joe Schmo. You know, what does he know? You know?
Can I tell you what the fear is? I hear.
Oh, please.
I hear that. Well, if I call that, they're going to trace me and they're going to end up committing me. I'm not going to be able to do my job anymore. I'm not going to be able to be a firefighter. I'm not going to be able to be a police officer or an EMT anymore.
Yeah.
That's
That's the stigma. That is the stigma.
and it's a legitimate concern.
It is, but I think
a lot of people.
and you know what, it makes sense.
Right.
I get it. I was there.
Right.
You know, I thought about what would happen if I said I was, you know, what happens if I say I'm scared
Yeah.
to go back to work? What happens when I say, you know, I don't want to do this right now. I don't want to come here and put this uniform on because when I do, I don't feel right. It makes me remember the bad things and makes me think about death and depression and puts you into that funk.
Gonzo says when the last time he put that uniform on was, you know, when
That
he
was
had-
heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking.
That was heartbreaking.
I got to tell you, bro, sitting across from him and letting him tell me that story, it was very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And, you know, I get it.
Yeah, and
I totally get where he's coming from, and
Yeah.
you have to take a step back.
You do. You
Yeah.
absolutely do. And it starts to become one of those things like, okay, we have all these programs set up like we've talked about, but
Right.
maybe it's time to say like when a person's, you know, if I were to approach my battalion chief right now and say, hey, listen, I'm not feeling right. You know, I feel a little off. I feel a little screwed up. You know, I think I need to talk to somebody. I need to get my head right.
Right.
Maybe you need to be benched. I hate to talk about it like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's part of the healing process.
Right.
You know, like you said just now,
Yep.
maybe you need to take a step back. One of Gonzo's big things was to say, like, I needed time to heal.
Right.
And I needed time to get that passion back.
Right.
So what makes that any different from any of us? Why doesn't it become mandatory?
Right.
You know, I know obviously manpower and, it's your job sometimes and
Right,
you
right.
got to do it, but maybe you need to be benched. Maybe you need to say like, hey, listen, you just went through something. You came to us and you said, I feel a certain way.
Right.
Maybe you need to be benched for a little bit and listen, if you have the courage to step up and say, I can't perform at the expectation you expect me to be at, and I can't do my job properly because I have this ghost that's sitting over my head and
Right.
weighing me down. That takes a lot of courage because then you're saying to yourself, you're not in the right state of mind, you can't do this. You're telling someone else that I need help.
Earlier, you said to me about Georgia and said, there were things that happened that I didn't realize at the time.
Yep.
Can you touch on some of that?
Absolutely. I mean, leading up to the day, right? I said it was August 1st, the morning of August 1st. It was like 6-something a.m. The night before, George called me and he said, "Hey man, can you take my shift tomorrow?" And it happened to be a shift with my buddy Dan.
Okay.
So I was like, "Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
hell
I'll take
yeah.
that shift."
No
With my
brainer.
boy, yeah.
Yeah.
And I you just sensed something. I was like, everything all right? Like, what's going on? And he was like, I'm having an asthma attack. I gotta go. I'm at the hospital. I just gotta, get some medicine. But George wasn't that kind of guy. Asthma wasn't going to put George down. He loved coming to work. He loved his job. He loved being around the guys, and just he loved doing it. But at the time, it was just one of those things like, yeah, you know what? Okay, no big deal.
Right.
Before that, leading up to it, he just seemed off. He was. I don't want to bad talk him. I don't want to make him seem like that kind of person. But he was drinking. It's what we all do.
Mm-hmm.
When he died, the first thing I did, go to the bottle.
Right.
It's a coping mechanism, but not a good one.
Of course.
Not a good
one. Right.
And it's something
we're
we need to
certainly
get
not
away from.
condoning that. It's just reality.
It is. It's absolute reality. It's what we tend to do.
Right.
You find comfort in something, and that numbs you, and that's what people do. But there's other ways to do it. Like I hate to break away, but one of the things to solve that problem is find outlets.
Mm-hmm.
What could you have done instead of drink? Like Chris's podcast.
Right.
Learn to work out. Instead of taking the aggression out on yourself and just beating yourself up, go make yourself better.
Right.
Clear the aggression out. All right. Stress is cortisol. Stress is cortisol built up in the body. So rid the cortisol, de-stress yourself, get better. It's all part of the process.
Brother, I'm going to be 100% honest with you about something right now. And those ghosts you talk about and the things we see and all.
Yeah.
You talk about an outlet. I'm going to be honest with you. This
is an outlet.
Is an outlet for me.
Yeah.
I love doing this.
Yeah.
Meeting people like yourself. To come back, the reason this all came about actually was you reached out to me.
Yeah.
And you sent me an awesome message.
Yeah.
And
listen, this is not about me. To be here and talk to you it helps me. This is a healing process.
Right.
But this is about George, and it's about taking care of everyone else. And the goal, I think we both agree on, we both talked about it, is I want to save a life one day.
Right.
And I don't want someone to suffer like George's family suffered.
Yeah.
I don't ever want someone to go through that again. And I think we can do more as people, as firemen, as first responders, EMTs, police officers. We could do more. We could take an extra step and find a way to start dealing with it and talk to each other to get rid of that stigma of, I'm going to be locked up. No, you're not going to be locked up.
Yeah.
Someone's going to help you.
Right.
There's a problem. And you got to get to the root of that problem, and you got to solve it. Find an outlet. Have someone guide you through the grieving process.
Right.
Everyone talks about the grieving process.
Right.
It's a real thing.
Absolutely.
So find someone to help you deal with it. For me, I was lucky. Like I said, I had my dad, I had my best friend, and I had my wife. And all of those people have helped me through every dark day I've ever had.
Right.
And it's because, at first it wasn't easy. I never talked about it. I put everything away.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I know now with the military that I didn't know back then was I was an immature person, and I was very arrogant, and I hid everything, and I just didn't want to, have that bravado of, I don't want to talk about it, and I don't want to,
that doesn't affect me.
But it does. It does. It all adds up. All adds up.
Of course,
It weighs on you, and you got to start being able to say, hey, listen, I need to talk about this.
Yeah.
And, and it's hard. And a lot of people find there's excuses in every angle. I don't want to talk to my wife because she doesn't understand.
Right.
Okay, someone's going to understand.
Sure.
Someone in your life understands.
Just what we're doing right now with therapy.
Exactly.
Just this alone is therapy. Just being able to talk to other brothers and sisters and say like, and it's funny, it'll just come up organically.
Yeah.
I'm like, I remember a job like that. And next thing you know, you're bouncing ideas off each other and bouncing stories off each other, and then
all of a sudden you're sitting there, laughing and joking and saying, man,
I'm not the only one going through this.
Yeah.
There's other people thinking the same thing I'm thinking.
And that's the thing that a lot of people just don't understand is that, you go to a bad call. Absolutely.
Right.
And there's going to be 1,000 people sitting there going, oh man, you all right? Hey, what's going on?
Right.
But there's a few genuine people that are sitting there worried about you as a person saying, are you okay?
Right.
What do you need? Because
it's not just a general statement.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
And listen, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the toughest guy in the firehouse. I don't care if you're brand new.
Right.
You see something that changes you. It's going to change. From that moment you see that, it's going to change. Your life is going to change.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be a fluidity of change.
Right.
You need to be able to adapt to it, move along with it, and deal with it.
It's funny, all these probies coming in now, they're so desensitized.
Yeah.
Because when I was growing
generation.
up, we didn't have YouTube.
No.
There was no Facebook,
Nope.
no Instagram, so you're not looking at death all the time. You can go on YouTube and watch a million fatal accidents. But we were kids, we weren't exposed to that kind of stuff. So.
But you know what else? You know what else
is on HBO.
Now? But now with their generation, what we're starting to notice is that they're using that social media, that tech, to express their feelings,
Right.
and that's the warning signs you got to look for now,
Right.
You know, but it's also, it could help. This is an outlet, like we talked about.
Right.
This is a good way to get messages out there and say, hey, listen, there's help. There's, you know, there's groups you could join. Talk to somebody, you know.
You know what the difference is, though, back to the social media stuff and YouTube. You can watch it on a video all day long. When you're standing in front of it,
Totally different.
it's completely different situation. So they may look at this stuff and go, you know, I've seen that already.
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
No,
you haven't.
yeah.
And until you're literally standing in that situation, and that's when you realize it.
I mean, we see it now. Like I said, we have
Yeah.
8 new guys in the firehouse,
Right.
and they range from, you know, their mid-20s to their mid-30s.
Right.
But I knew personally, like, for me, you know, it's telling this story. It's talking about it and saying, hey, listen, we're going to see some shit in this job. You're going to see some shit that you've never imagined.
Yeah.
And you're
Oh, yeah.
going to see some
Yeah.
stuff that's you're going to go home one night and you're going to sit there and you're going to stare at the ceiling. And every time you close your eyes, you're going to think about it, and it's going to screw you up. I want you to be able to come to me because I'm your bro.
Right.
And I want you to know I got your back. You know, even if you're pissed off me that day,
Right.
if I beat you in basketball,
Right.
or, you know, if I piss you off doing something,
Right.
I don't care. If you have that feeling, come to me. Let's talk about it.
It's funny you say that because, you know, you said you think of things. I remember I was on a fatal crash when I was very young. I want to say I was 18, you know. It was like one of these calls, like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
3 people had died in this car, and, you know, really horrific crash, you know, fire involved in hauling yards, and of all that destruction and all that death I saw, what stood out to me and what I couldn't get out of my mind for like 3 days was the hazard lights blinking
Oh,
from the truck that
Yep.
the car hit the back of a dump truck
Yeah.
on the parkway, and it, you know, it was bad.
Yeah.
But the back feed going through the speakers from the hazard lights flashing, that, I mean, I heard that for like 3 days
Yeah.
in my sleep.
Yep.
And at the time, you
don't think about it.
You don't think about it.
But,
But
you know, like,
it's
there's-
crazy what you remember.
Yeah. And it's little subtle things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like, I remember we went to one accident and it was a yellow Cavalier, right? And anytime I saw a yellow car after that, it was just like, ooh, man.
Yeah,
you know?
get your attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's such, but that's what trauma.
Right.
Trauma sticks in your brain,
Right.
and it stays there.
So what angers me about firefighters like George, our brothers, is he could have called anybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He could have called anybody and said, hey, you got a minute? Can we talk?
Yeah.
You would have been there like that.
Instantly.
In Pennsylvania.
Yep.
It wouldn't have mattered. You would have gotten in your car and you would have been there.
Yep.
Why do you think it is that we don't do that?
That's the hardest question to ask and to answer. And, you know, I think about it, and there's so many unanswered questions with George, with that morning and that night, and what happened. And, you know, there's a lot more to the story that I can't talk about, but
Right.
it's because the system let him down. And in my heart, I believe that when it happened and when he made that decision, he truly felt like he was alone in the world.
Right.
And that there wasn't anybody else. That was it.
Yes.
This was the only answer. And that's what breaks my heart. And that's what hurt me the most, is that, you know, I want to say, like, yeah, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you tell me
Right.
what was going on, what you were thinking of? I would have got in my car and been there.
Right.
But you didn't.
Right.
So I let you down. And that's what hurt, because I don't blame, you know, after you go through for him, I was mad, I was sad, I was angry, and then you start to blame yourself. Why didn't I know?
Yeah,
Why didn't I
survivor's
see
guilt.
it? Yeah.
Excuse me.
And then, you know, and then burying him and seeing his family and getting close with his family, and it eats at you. Like, why didn't you call me? Why wasn't I the answer?
Right.
Why wasn't I good enough?
And that's what always baffled me about our brothers and sisters killing themselves, because we always talk
Yeah.
just like this. So you would think, man, when you're at the lowest, and to me the saddest part of suicide is the fact that you have to be at the lowest part of your life. In
Yeah.
that moment, you're feeling alone when you have all these people around you that want to help, that
Yeah.
want to be there. So it baffles my mind that
it's
that when the people that say they're always going to be there for you literally are there for you.
Yeah.
So why aren't we picking up that phone? Why aren't we calling?
Yeah, and I like, so to open myself up a little bit, like when I was going through my dark days and I was suffering, it's not only the fact that, like, I know for me personally, I knew there was people out there. I didn't want their help.
Right.
I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just wanted to disappear, and I wanted to disappear in my own mind and figure it out, because I'm stronger than that. But you're not. We got to realize we're human. We're human too. We have the same reactions as everybody else. These people that we deal with on a daily basis,
Right.
That we're there to help. We're the same people.
And we have the same struggles that everyone else, the civilians have. We have our family hardships, and we have our relationship problems and financial problems, and then factor all of those things, and then come to work here and deal with a dead baby or a fatal fire or a fatal crash, and man,
it compounds.
It compounds.
It gets worse.
It does. It's tough. It's a really tough situation. It makes us stronger, but at the same time, it makes us susceptible to these deaths, and those numbers scare me.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's trending to that. It's taken over the big ones. It's beating cancer. It's beating heart disease. But look at everything we've done. You posted, I think, yesterday, the Hoods for Heroes program.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, I'm so excited. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be part of that.
It's awesome. It's such a good concept.
Oh, it's awesome.
And then to piggyback off of that, look at the Captain Bushio program.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So
Great
what are we
program.
doing right there?
I did that. I loved it.
Dude, I did
awesome.
it, and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
You think you're healthy, and you go through that, and it's like, whoa, all right, maybe I got to lay off a little bit.
I remember the doctor sitting across from me. How they come, he's got the thing, and he's like,
yeah, you're sitting there all cocky, like, I'm healthy? What are you talking about?
Blood work. You got to fix this and fix that. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I thought I was good.
Yeah.
Open your eyes.
Yeah, you're like, my cholesterol's what? I'm 28 years old. What are you talking about?
You got to lay off the burgers.
Yeah, but here's a simple thing, right? And it sounds simple. I know it's not. It's complicated, but you have these programs set, right? So Captain Bushio beats heart disease, right?
Yep.
We're beating heart disease. We're winning.
Yeah.
We're slowly winning, but we're winning.
Right.
The Hoods for Heroes, all these cancer programs.
Right.
Wash your gear.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone knows it's not a thing anymore. You don't. Look on these racks. The coats are dirty, but they're not covered in soot and everything like that. Right. Because we wash our gear.
Yeah.
You come back from a fire. The first thing you do, you put your gear in the thing. Right. You take your helmets. You wipe them off. You get all that cancer-causing carcinogens off of your stuff.
Bro, you're gonna laugh at me. I love the show because it's so raw. But I just caught some work, and I came back from the job, working fire, Division 2. It was good fire.
Yeah.
And I got done as soon as I got back to firehouse. I washed my helmet.
It hurts,
bro.
It
I got to tell you something. I'm embarrassed to say this, but I want to be honest. In 27 years, I've never done that.
Yeah.
And I literally sat in our, we have a pretty decent sized wash tub in there.
Yeah.
And I'm, in the slop sink, and I'm cleaning my helmet, and I couldn't believe that it took the podcast
to do it, to wake you up.
Right. To Chief Hall from episode 1.
Yeah.
He talks about washing gear and all
Yeah.
that, and they've been doing that forever.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, Jesus, I haven't done that ever.
And it's crazy because it's a simple program.
Right.
It's someone to sit there and say, hey, listen, this is what's set up. Let's do it this way. Let's try that.
The dirty gear is not cool gear anymore.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. You know what really blew my mind is so when we went out to Pierce to do stuff for the ladder, we met a couple guys from Florida.
Right.
And they're in Florida, the whole state, they're rolling out this clean cab initiative. Have you heard of that?
No.
Oh, this is gonna blow your mind. So what they do is there's no more turnout gear in the cab.
Okay.
There's no more
Hang on one sec.
So there's no more turnout gear in the truck. There's no more SCBAs in the truck.
Okay.
It's basically you get out in your station gear.
Okay.
You get to the fire. You put your gear on. You fight the fire. Do what you got to do. Get out. Put your gear in another compartment. So not the compartment that you are, not that you're getting back into. Not the truck you're getting back into.
Right.
But so what they do is they eliminate living in that environment. So they're taking away all the carcinogens from the system.
Right.
So don't get in the truck with dirty gear. Wipe yourself down. They're big on those fire wipes.
Oh,
So
nice.
as soon as these guys take their gear off,
Yeah.
they take it off right there, they bag it up, they decon themselves with fire wipes, and then they go in the truck. So they're eliminating everything.
Wow.
And this initiative is actually taking off. Like Pierce is pushing it on, other companies.
Right.
Obviously they want to get it going up here because once it happens up here, it's just a domino effect.
Yeah.
But
I
we
never
went.
even heard of that. It's awesome.
They were talking to us about it. We're like, what? You show up to a fire and then you put your gear on? We would be crucified.
Yeah.
Like no one wants to do that. But
Yeah.
if you think about it, like if you actually sit down and think about it, you're like, wow, man, I kind of get it. It
Yeah.
makes sense. Like,
It's certainly a way to keep everything clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't think about, Yeah, you're right. That's pretty awesome.
it's just a foreign concept, but
Right.
will it work in the future? Maybe.
Yeah.
It's something that has to be developed and refined, but
Right.
I get it. I get the process behind it, and I get what it does.
Yeah. If you're looking to prevent cancer, I mean, anything helps.
Yeah.
Anything helps. Like
Yeah.
the Hoods for Heroes.
Yep.
What a awesome idea.
Yeah.
So-
And it's like you said, it's a little stuff,
Right,
like the
right.
first time you saw that video on YouTube of your hood in like this vat of water, and you're like, my hood's not that dirty.
Yeah.
You throw it in the bucket of water, and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's bad.
And where's it going? On your face, on
Yeah.
your skin, and your neck. Oh,
Yeah. I mean, look at these things, with the exhaust systems on the truck now.
Right,
Every
right.
firehouse you go to has a Plymouth vent or
Right.
some sort of exhaust system.
Right.
Why is that? Because we were living in it.
Right.
And it's eliminating it. So, I mean, to circle back around, we're taking all these steps, right?
Right.
We're doing all these things. There's all these things set up. What's the one to set up to help us with PTSD and suicide? Why is it still a thing?
Right.
Why aren't we doing better?
Well, you said it best. It's the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that. Is there any other way to say it? I mean,
No.
it's the truth. I
No,
mean,
it's the truth.
Until people realize that it's an epidemic.
Yeah.
With those numbers,
That's an epidemic. Those numbers are an
I
epidemic.
keep going back to that because I just can't believe it.
It's crazy. The first time you actually, I looked these numbers up yesterday just to confirm because I didn't want to come on and sound like I didn't know what I was talking about.
Right.
But
I'm very impressed. You're much more advanced than I am.
I mean, dude, I looked at these numbers and I'm like, no way. What kind of source is this?
Yeah.
What kind of fake news is this?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I love it.
so I look and I'm like, no, I got to do a little more research.
Right,
And then I
right.
looked. It was on fire engineering. I'm
Reliable source, man.
like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So then you look a little more, and,
Yeah.
and everywhere we go for information,
Right.
Firehouse Magazine, it's all there. It's
Right.
all right in front of us.
Right.
Is it that page in the magazine we all just, I don't want to read that.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but you got to be able to open yourself up and say, I could do better. I could do more. This is what's bothering me, and it comes down to little stuff,
Yeah.
Like my wife is huge into the essential oils, stuff like that. And listen, I was so skeptical at first, that lavender thing isn't gonna make me sleep. She goes, oh yeah, puts it in the diffuser, and man, I slept like a baby. I was like, what is this sorcery going on?
Yeah, it's awesome.
And
It's
next
witchcraft.
Yeah. Next thing I know, I'm buying this Valor and I'm rubbing it on my wrists and palms, and it works.
Do you do that in front of the guys?
Oh no, I don't do that here.
Don't worry, your secret's safe. No one will know.
I think I brought like a little diffuser here once, and I was like diffusing like lavender oil in the dorm once in the bunk room, and guys were like, "What is that smell?" It's not a fart. It's not some.
Right.
It's not some crazy smell, and they're like, "I don't get it," and I was like, "Yeah, I can't do this here."
That's awesome. So, so listen, I got to tell you, I appreciate you talking about George.
Dude,
And I'm sure his family is just ecstatic that you're doing this.
Yeah, I think I can speak for them and say that, they agree with me and say that this pain is too much. No family should ever have to even suffer through this anymore. So if this saves one life, if this
Right.
makes one person sit there and reflect and look in the mirror and say, hey, listen, yeah, I need help. I need to talk to someone. That's the goal.
So
That's the goal.
So is it fair to say that if there's one brother or sister watching us right now and they're in that dark spot,
Yeah.
right, can we just do it for George's memory, just to make that phone call?
Yeah. Dude, I'll put my phone number up.
Yep.
If you ever feel a certain way, you call me.
Yeah.
I don't care if
We're
you're a
all
complete
family.
stranger.
We're all
Exactly.
family, yep.
If you call me up and say, hey, man, I heard what you said and I want to talk about it.
Right.
Well, let's get you help. Let's find it. If I can't personally help you, I'll find a way. And I think everyone needs to take that initiative.
So what advice would you give? What's the message, bro? What's the message to their brother and sister watching right now that might be watching this and going, holy shit, I might be there right now. I'm like pretty depressed, and I don't know where to turn, and I'm afraid to come forward. What do you say?
I hate to be the guy to sound, corny or whatever you want to call it, but it's not the end.
Right.
Whatever problem you have, it's you can find an answer.
Right.
Money's money.
Yep.
Relationships are relationships.
Yep.
They hurt. Yeah,
Sure.
it's gonna hurt like hell, but guess what? Pain's temporary.
Yep.
Pain is always temporary. And no matter what you're going through, it's not the end.
Right.
Someone will be able to help you. Someone will find a way. Mm-hmm. Someone's going to talk to you. Someone, if you're surrounded by negativity, change the situation. Right. If you are in a place where you can't reach out and get help, it's time for scenery change.
Dude, it's a great thing on Facebook I saw, and it's like, I had a person, like a half a person, and it was cut in half, and it was like the toxic people in your life. You just separate yourself from the toxic people in your life. It's true. Sometimes you got to reassess.
It is. I mean, listen, I can't say it enough. I'm so blessed and I'm so lucky to have the support system I have. Like, not only the people that I mentioned already.
Right.
I have a solid group of friends that we've been friends since high school. My high school friends, we're still together. Like I said, I'm going to Mexico for my wedding in 24 hours.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And all of these people are coming with me.
Right.
And
that's awesome.
It's a show of support and love. And any one of them I could turn to at any moment and say, hey, listen, man, I'm dealing with this and I need help. I need to sit and talk about it. I need to sit and take a walk with me, or let's go to the gym. Let's go work it out. Let me scream and grunt and throw weight that I can't and shouldn't be lifting. And
the gym is definitely my outlet. I mean, when I'm in the gym, it's absolutely my outlet.
I neglected it for so long in my life, and I didn't start really taking care of my body physically until I was on the job and realized, like, hey, this is what's going to keep the paychecks coming. So take care of it. Yeah. And
it's an investment. It's an investment.
But you can listen, if you can't solve your problem in the gym,
right,
you're doing it wrong. Something's going on. Maybe you can solve it in the kitchen.
Yeah, I throw a little Tool in my headphones and I'm off to the races.
Oh man, I put Metallica S&M album on and just
that'll definitely work.
Yeah.
So like I said, I appreciate talking about George, and
it was an honor to tell a story. It really was.
Yeah, and this is an awesome. I mean, this makes it all worth it for me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mentioned it before, and you're a humble guy, and I like that. But you said, oh, no, it's not about me. But listen, bro, you're the one that reached out to me. You're the one that wanted to talk about George.
And
if not for you doing this, it might not have been said.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I know the family certainly appreciates it.
Yeah.
Your brothers, sisters watching appreciate what you're doing, man.
Yeah. It needs to be said. It shouldn't happen.
Right.
And, I wish George could be here to tell you his success story, because he didn't deserve it.
Right.
His family didn't deserve it. The world didn't deserve to lose him as a person.
Right.
And I'm sure that list is endless. You can go on and on about people who have unfortunately given into suicide, and and it's endless. They don't deserve to leave this place. You might have been the guy to change something, and we got to do better to keep that.
Absolutely. So I want to end the show by
we definitely can't end on a like this.
No, man, this is. I want to end the show on a positive note.
Okay.
All right. So let's hear about this. Let's hear about this tiller.
Oh man,
coming to Harrison.
Yeah. So like I said, we met with Pierce, man, and it's going to be a 107-foot ascendant tiller.
Sweet.
Yeah. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it's the first ascendant tiller in New Jersey too.
No kidding.
So yeah, a lot of people are really looking forward to it, and it's a good thing, man. It's a good thing for this town. This town needs it. This department needs it, and we put so much thought and effort into this thing that it's more technologically advanced than I've ever thought a fire truck could do it. Like,
I'm gonna say it. It's sexy.
It's nice.
I'm gonna say it. You showed me those pictures, man, before you got started. I'm like, man, that is a beautiful piece.
Yeah. And so what's funny? I mean, you look around, you see the color scheme that we kind of have, and And when we started with this thing, it was, like we talked about with this episode, we got to change the stigma, right? You gotta shake it up every once in a while. You got to change it, and you really got to say, like, all right, we need to change.
Right,
so as the Harrison Fire Department has come along, and we're really progressive, and this town is exploding around us, everything is changing and everything is getting faster, bigger. We said, all right, well, one of my things was, I was like, I want to make a statement.
Right.
I want to roll this truck out, and I want everyone in Hudson County to know that the Harrison Fire Department is here.
They're not going to miss that.
No, we're here to stay.
Yeah.
And this thing is our flagship, man. And
Yeah,
I want it to. I want people to look at it going down the road and be like, whoa,
Yeah.
oh, that's Harrison's truck.
Yeah, it's what an amazing piece, man.
Yeah.
Tell me about the color scheme.
So we went a little different. Obviously, you look at Hudson County, New Jersey, and
Right.
what do you think of? You see North Hudson, Jersey City,
Yep.
red over black. Right?
Yep.
Everyone's like, oh man, those look good.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, I got you. One of the things that we did in Jackson Mills, to back it up a little bit, Jackson Mills is white and green trucks.
Oh, okay.
So a little trick my old man played when he was a commissioner. He got the ladder, the green Seagrave that everyone notices.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
see 5405 going down
Yeah.
the road, and you're like, oh, that's Jackson Mills' ladder.
Yeah. That's an awesome truck, by the way. Yeah.
And you can't miss it.
Yeah.
You can't miss it. So I took a page out of his book and I said, all right, I need something. I want to put this thing on the map. So we went with a dark red scheme.
Cool.
With the charcoal gray.
Yeah.
Like that real dark charcoal.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah, and the black stripe.
That's
Kept it Hudson County, but it's different.
I noticed that we had to make some room here, and there's all the pieces of equipment, all the tools and everything.
Yeah. It's been a challenge. I mean, we've been without a ladder truck since May, and
Wow.
it's
So who
it's
you
just
who you using
unfortunate.
for your ladder?
So right now, Carney is our mutual aid.
Okay.
And anything that we have on a first due alarm assignment that sounds like it's going to be significant, or
Right.
obviously for general alarms, we're not going to make Carney bring their tower down and come through. But if we're getting multiple calls, if it's smoke showing or report of fire, any type of fire,
Right.
we get them rolling right away.
That's
So
awesome.
we're rolling one of our engines. We're kind of transformed into a squad. We got our tools on it. And it's cramped, but
Yeah.
again, it's adaptability.
Right,
We
right.
make it work.
That's
And,
awesome.
It's a challenge.
Awesome, man. Well, again, I can't thank you enough for coming on to the show.
I can't thank you enough for what you're doing
Thanks,
with this
man.
podcast. Is absolutely incredible, and I really hope you all the success in the world. I hope this keeps snowballing and taking off into what I think it is.
Thank you, man.
And I really
means a
hope
lot.
dude.
Yeah.
I want to make sure you know that I'm honored to be here, and I want to help you out as much as I can.
Thanks,
so,
bro.
yeah, I'm glad we're up here in Hudson County.
Yeah.
And not, we broke you out of Ocean County a little
Yeah,
bit.
it was an honor to be here, man. I really did feel welcomed here. I mean, all kidding aside, I really did feel welcomed here. I mean, all the brothers, they welcomed me with open arms. I mean,
Yeah.
you fed me. I mean, you definitely know a way to an Italian's heart. You feed me. I appreciate, you gave me a nice sweatshirt, T-shirts. I mean, this was an awesome episode. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, dude, I'm so happy, man. I'm glad we got the message out. I'm glad you were able to be here and experience part of our life here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And see that it's different, and we're here, man.
I got a long ride home. Maybe I'll just take one of those bunks.
Yeah, dude, it's I feel your pain. I live in Waretown, so it's a hike.
It is like.
It's a hike.
So this episode was sponsored by Eagle Emblems and Graphics. Sal, awesome dude. I mean, all those FDNY T-shirts you see,
yeah.
He's the guy, and he fully supports the show, and it's good to have that support system. And if you're looking for T-shirts, graphics for the engines and apparatus, he's the guy, and it's all custom stuff. So.
I'll definitely be in his ear soon.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. So again, thanks, Sal. I appreciate the help. PintheQ podcast. This was episode 6. I'm super excited about this one. Such an important topic.
Yeah, it really is.
I appreciate the Harrison Fire Department letting me be part of their family for the night. And we got a lot more coming at you. So just stick with us. Make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube channel, which is, you're watching right now. We have a Facebook page and also the website, which your ugly mug's going to be in that website too. So thanks again. We'll see you soon.